Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia, and welcome to Healing from Complex PTSD. My name's Linda. I'm your certified complex trauma professional and educator, and today we're going to take a look at 10 signs of emotional exhaustion related to complex trauma. So what this is saying is you may be feeling emotional exhaustion, and it may be because of complex trauma, and therefore it's in treating the complex trauma that we can have the emotional exhaustion, all of those listed here. We can have them, I don't like to say get under control because it just doesn't sound right, but we can grow through them and not be so exhausted driven by the complex trauma. However, if you're having late nights out, that's more than the complex trauma. I kid. We've got to have a giggle too. So if you're having constant fatigue, so you're feeling physically and emotionally drained even after a full night's sleep, make a note of that. Overwhelming anxiety, a constant sense of worry and unease, often accompanied by racing thoughts, i.e. you find it really hard to slow your thoughts down. Have you tried? Irritability, becoming easily agitated or frustrated over minor issues. And sometimes with complex trauma, it takes us a bit of time to realise that we're going off like a frog in a sock, is what I call it. It's just like, snap, we're gone. Off we go. 0 to 100 in less than a nanosecond. So it may be something we need to develop some awareness around. Emotional numbness, so feeling emotionally detached or numb, as if you can't connect with your own feelings or those of others. Now, sometimes, it's definitely connected with complex trauma, but also sometimes it can be that we are not aware of the powerful impact of complex trauma on the brain. We're not aware that the actual emotional numbness is coming from being in survival mode. We may have difficulty concentrating, so finding it hard to focus on tasks or make decisions, even simple ones. And it just brings to mind that conversation between partners. What do you want for dinner? Oh, whatever you want. Okay. How hard is it for you to make a decision about what you'd like to eat for dinner? And even though that sounds funny in one hand, and it is because we all do it, the other side of it is if I'm incredibly frustrated because I don't know how to get around not being able to make a decision, then we need to be making note of it, okay? We may have a loss of interest in activities or hobbies that used to bring joy. And the other side of that is we may not remember what brings us joy as well. So you might need to take some time out to consider what part of recovery are you on, or what stage of recovery, and do you need to think about things that will bring you joy. We may have physical symptoms, experiencing things such as headaches, stomach aches, muscle tension related to stress, and quite often stress is one of those things that we look for a physical reason why I'm stressed. So we look outside of ourselves to, is there an overload at work? Is there an overload, overwhelm in my personal relationships? But with complex trauma, when we're looking for the stress, it may be internally that I'm feeling like I can't manage or juggle everything that's on my plate right now. And it compounds over time. So we want to be aware of that compounding too, because it can cause the physical symptoms of the headaches, etc. as well. So it's not just black and white. With complex trauma, it becomes more nuanced as to what's happening. We may decide to, or not even consciously decide, but we may have made an unconscious decision to withdraw from people, withdraw from life, and just do the essentials. And that can definitely be hooked into trauma. And it can also be hooked into if you go through a relational breakup, and you just feel like you can't go through that again, and you may have been isolating yourself If you're in recovery and doing recovery, then you'll come out of that isolation when you're ready. However, you need to make sure that you're actively engaged in the process of recovery so that you can go on and live, a really healthy life connecting with other people. Doesn't have to be a relationship, but it is healthy to get out there and connect with other people. We may be cynical and we may have developed a negative outlook on life and distrust of others' intentions. And I have to stick my hand up for that one because cynicism is something that I notice I battle. How would you say that? It's not something I battle regularly, but it's something that I'm aware that's there that I have to be willing to work with, looking at it from trusting life perspective after all I've been through. That in itself is a process because with the complex trauma side of it, we have to know that we can trust our ability to make decisions after we've been through hell on earth. Okay, so we rebuild that ability into our life. Then we can go on to make decisions and go out and share time with other people. We may have reduced empathy, so we may be struggling to empathise with others or offer emotional support. We may be struggling to walk in their shoes, and that's definitely going to be something that complex trauma drives from us. And I don't think that we actually talk a lot about is the fact that sometimes it doesn't matter how sensitive we are, sometimes finding empathy for people who keep doing the same thing just on a different day can be challenging for us when we're going through our complex trauma recovery. Now, just know that there are ways to come through this, but the first thing you've got to do is identify what's happening for you and do some journaling so you get really clear on these areas and know that there's help with the complex trauma side of it, so you don't have to feel emotionally exhausted all the time and you can get back to living a really healthy, happy, thriving life. Okay, that's it for this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.